Hello everyone, today we're going to make Pavlova, the fantastic light airy dessert that comes from the Antipodes. This recipe was given to me by my good Australian friend Michael, and it comes from his mum, and I have run away with it and made lots and lots of Pavlovas. It's normally a dish that you make in the summer, at least I had been making it in the summer, but I had a craving for Pavlova, so I kept making it all year round and into the winter. And this is a recipe with a pear and pomegranate topping. Traditionally it's made with berries or with kiwi, but this has pears and pomegranates and it's fabulous, fabulous. So it has this ethereal crust, light crust, and then the inside is a marshmallow texture topped with whipped cream and all the berries. So it's simple to make. It's like making a giant meringue, but there are specific steps that you need to take, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing, I'm going to go through the ingredients. So you have 4 egg whites, 8 ounces of sugar, which is fine sugar. So a quick word about the sugar. You can buy fine sugar, but in fact, you can make it, and it's much cheaper that way. Just put the sugar into a food processor and run it for about 2 minutes, and then you get this fine sugar, so it's not so granular. A little bit of salt, some vanilla paste, cornstarch, and some vanilla, and more about those as we make the meringue. First thing you need to do then to make the meringue. The 4 egg whites are going to get beaten in a standing mixer. If you don't have one of these, you can make it with a handheld mixer. It will take a little bit longer to do that. So I'm going to start this in here. It's fitted with a whisk attachment, and you whisk the egg whites until they get to the soft peak stage. I'm just going to add a little pinch of salt in here, and then we'll start adding the sugar. Okay, we've got to the soft peak stage. Show you what that looks like. So they're just soft. They're not really firm. You wouldn't be able to stand this up in the mixture. From this point, you start to add the sugar. And the sugar you have to add 1 tablespoon at a time. And I know that sounds like that's going to take some time. It is. It's going to take about 8 to 10 minutes to add all of this, because you need to wait about 30 seconds between each addition, each spoonful. This allows the sugar to be absorbed into the egg whites. If you put all of this in one go, you'll just end up with a very flat, hard pancake of a meringue, and it won't taste very good. So you have to let it do its work. So I'm going to pop this on here, and we'll start with the addition of the sugar, and then at the end you'll see this beautiful glossy meringue, and it'll be really firm. Really fabulous and glossy and firm. So I'm just going to add the last tablespoon to this mixture, and also at this point 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste. If you don't have vanilla paste, you can use pure vanilla extract. Just a teaspoon works just fine. And at this point, we're going to add in the cornstarch and a little bit of white wine vinegar, which helps set the meringue when it's cooking. Let's take this out. Wow, it's super firm. Look at this. Really, really perfect consistency. A little spatula, and then extricate all of this beautiful meringue mixture. You can lick that later. So to this, I add a little bit of cornstarch And I like to just use a tiny tea strainer to whisk it in and to distribute it evenly across the meringue base. Let's just get the rest of this. There we go. And a little bit of, it's 1 teaspoon of the white wine vinegar. And then just fold all of that in very gently into your meringue base. There. Very simple. All right, now we're going to place all of this onto a parchment-lined baking tray. And you can draw a circle if that helps to see the size that you want to make it, or you can just do a slightly free-form version and put all of the meringue in one go into the middle of the paper. And then you shape it into a large disc. Okay, so I just use the spatula to shape it into a disc. And you want the disc to be about 1 inch in height and about 8 to 9 inches in diameter. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. I think that's part of the charm of this dessert, is that it looks whimsical. Okay. And then what I like to do, as I'm shaping it around, is just to make the middle part slightly lower than the outside edge. So it has a little indentation because you're going to fill this with lots and lots of whipped cream at the end. You heat the oven to 300 degrees, and as soon as you put it into the oven, you turn the oven down to 250, and it cooks for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And once it's finished cooking, you leave it in the oven with the doors closed and let it cool in the oven. So the whole process takes about 1.5 hours to 2 hours for it to cool down. It can stay in the oven. You could make it overnight, in fact, and you can leave it to cool in the oven completely overnight and then finish making it the next day. So I'm going to pop this in the oven now. So this is what the meringue looks like once it's been cooked, and this cooked for 1 hour and 15 minutes at 250, and then it cooled in the oven with the oven door shut for a couple of hours, and it may crack a little, and that's normal, don't panic about that. So it is a little delicate. I'm going to transfer it to this dish, and I'm just going to do it like this. Put my hand under there. There we go. Okay, the next thing we need to prepare are the fruit that are going to go on top, and then we'll whip some cream. So for the fruit for this, we're going to produce some pears and some pomegranates. And these are lovely pears. You can use any pears, any variety that you like. It's quite nice to use an assortment. So I'm just going to slice these, and you need to peel them too. And cord, and then they just get thinly sliced, and we'll cook them up in a little bit of butter and some salt, just salt and some sugar. And you cook them just for 3 or 4 minutes so that they get a little golden brown. This is what the pears look like when they're all peeled and cored and sliced. This is 3 pears. It's enough to cover the top of the meringue. And now I'm going to show you a quick trick with the pomegranates so that the juice of the pomegranates doesn't go all over the place. Really simple way to extract all the seeds. if you cut the pomegranate in half, oh, look at that, isn't that just beautiful? And turn them upside down in a bowl of water, and then just invert them and push the seeds out. The seeds will sink to the bottom of the water, and then the pith will just float to the top, and you can just take the seeds out without getting everything all over your hands. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to cook the pears just for a minute or two. I'm going to extract those in just a second and cook these in a little bit of butter and a little bit of sugar, and they just cook for a couple of minutes. I'll be right back with these. So these are the cooked pears, and you don't want to cook them for too long because otherwise they get soft, too soft and a bit mushy. So literally just a couple of minutes in a pan with a little bit of butter. And I'm going to let these cool down. You don't want them to be hot because obviously hot pears on the cold cream, that won't really work. And I'm going to show you how to make the cream. So for the cream, this is 2 cups of cream. Yes, it's very creamy. 2 cups of cream in here, with a tablespoon of vanilla paste. I'm just going to pour this in there, and then I will add in about a tablespoon of granulated sugar as well. And you want to get this, don't over whip the cream, so just so that it's lovely and soft whipped cream. So as soon as you see the trace marks of the whisk in the cream, that's when it's ready. You don't want to over whip it. It's this lovely soft whipped cream and has this delicious vanilla flavor. Now I'm going to put this delicately onto the meringue base, and then we will top that with the pears and the pomegranates. It's one of my favorite desserts. And this is a great, great dish to have for a dinner party. Perhaps something to create. It's very festive. So for this holiday season, a lovely addition to your dinner table menu. Just spread it out all the way to the edge. And then I'm going to top this with those lovely pears and the pomegranate seeds. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to add the pears to this, and I just put them on delicately over the top. And if you want to do this with apples, you can do it with apples or an assortment of fruit. Just an even distribution of the fruit across the top. If you want to use raspberries, you can do that too. Just get the last of this on here. And then once you have all the pears, get the lovely pomegranate seeds and put these over the top. Such a pretty dish. Oh, I can't wait. There we go. Pavlova, pear and pomegranate pavlova. I hope you have a fabulous end of the season and a very, very happy new year.